Commander Daniel Wright rubbed his tired eyes as he stared at the monitoring screen. 3 hours into his night shift at the Nevada listening post, and nothing unusual had appeared. The same background noise of space, the same routine check of satellites. Then his screen flickered. "That's weird," he muttered, tapping the display. The flicker came again, stronger this time. Not a system error. Something was causing interference at the edge of their detection range. Wright reached for his communication panel. "Control, I'm picking up an anomaly in Sector 7. Can you confirm?" "Stand by," came the response. A moment later. "Confirmed. We're seeing it too. Running diagnostics now." The energy signature grew stronger over the next few hours. Scientists from around the world connected to the data stream as word spread through the intelligence community. By morning, every major space agency was tracking the phenomenon. "It's moving," said Dr. Frank Miller at NASA headquarters. "Whatever it is, it's definitely moving toward us." 3 days later, the anomaly crossed Neptune's orbit. Now it was visible through the most powerful telescopes. A massive object, reflecting sunlight. Definitely not a natural phenomenon. The president called an emergency meeting. Military leaders, scientists, and intelligence officials gathered in the White House Situation Room. "So what exactly are we looking at?" the president asked. Admiral Alice Stevens pointed to the projected image. "This object is approximately 12 miles long and 5 miles wide. It's maintaining a constant speed and trajectory directly toward Earth, and it's not responding to any of our attempts at communication." The room fell silent. "Is it a ship?" someone finally asked. "That's our best guess," Stevens replied. "Nothing natural moves like that." "Options?" the president asked. "We've already activated our defense protocols," said General Paul Roberts. "But honestly, if they have technology advanced enough for interstellar travel, our weapons might not do much." The world's governments released a coordinated statement, informing the public that an unidentified object was approaching Earth. They emphasized there was no immediate danger, but panic spread regardless. Stock markets plummeted. Religious leaders proclaimed the end times. Some people fled to bunkers or remote areas. 6 days after Wright's initial detection, the object stopped just beyond the moon's orbit. It hung there, silent and imposing, clearly visible in the night sky to anyone with a pair of binoculars. Then communication systems worldwide experienced interference. Television broadcasts, radio signals, and internet connections displayed the same message, translated into every known human language. "People of Earth, the Galactic Empire acknowledges your civilization. Prepare for inspection and cataloging. Resistance is unnecessary and inadvisable. Your cooperation ensures optimal treatment." In a small apartment in Chicago, Maya Reynolds watched the message repeat on her television. "This can't be real," she whispered to her husband. "It is," Ben replied, pointing out their window. "Look." Smaller craft were now descending from the massive ship, glowing against the darkening sky as they entered Earth's atmosphere. At the United Nations, an emergency session convened. Representatives from every nation argued about how to respond. Some advocated immediate surrender. Others insisted on fighting. "We don't even know what they want yet," argued the French ambassador. "They want what conquerors always want," replied the representative from Kenya. "Our resources, our land, and our submission." As dawn broke over the Pacific Ocean, 7 alien vessels positioned themselves above major cities around the world. They didn't attack. They simply watched. Commander Wright, now reassigned to a crisis response team, studied the alien ships through satellite imagery. "They could have destroyed us immediately if that was their goal," he observed. "They're waiting for something." The answer came 12 hours later. A final message broadcast globally. "Your world leaders will present themselves at these coordinates in 48 hours. Prepare to receive the Imperial Assessment Team. Your civilization's classification and value will be determined." Humanity's first contact had begun. and the Galactic Empire was already setting the terms. Ambassador Liam Foster straightened his tie as the helicopter descended toward the meeting point. The impromptu landing pad in New Mexico's desert had been constructed in less than a day. Around it stood a circle of military vehicles and scientific equipment. "Are you ready?" asked the Secretary of State beside him. "As ready as anyone can be to meet aliens," Foster replied. After an emergency global summit, he had been selected to represent Earth. His calm demeanor and diplomatic experience made him the consensus choice. Still, nothing in his career had prepared him for this. The alien shuttle landed with barely a sound, much smaller than the massive ship still visible in the sky. Its surface shimmered with an iridescent material unknown to Earth science. A door slid open, revealing 3 figures. The aliens were humanoid, but clearly not human. Tall and slender, with skin that seemed to shift colors slightly as they moved. The one in front wore an elaborate outfit that suggested authority. "I am Imperial Assessor Xanfor," it announced in perfect English. "I speak for the Galactic Empire." Foster stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Liam Foster, representing the United Nations of Earth. We welcome you and seek peaceful dialogue." The Imperial Assessor made a gesture that might have been amusement. "Peace is guaranteed to those who accept Imperial classification. The process begins now." Over the next week, Imperial teams spread across the globe. They tested soil samples, scanned ocean depths, and observed human cities. They asked endless questions about Earth's governments, technologies, and resources. They seemed particularly interested in rare metals and population statistics. At the temporary diplomatic headquarters, Xanfor explained the Empire's structure to Earth's representatives. "The Galactic Empire spans 17,000 star systems," the alien said. "New civilizations are regularly incorporated based on their development level and resource value. Your species is categorized as pre-galactic emergent, viable for integration, but requiring supervision." "And this integration, what would it mean for Earth?" Foster asked carefully. "Resource allocation quotas, technological restrictions, population management, imperial governance oversight." Xanfor's tone was matter-of-fact. "Standard protocols for developing worlds." Meanwhile, at MIT, scientists Catherine Bell and Alan Murphy worked frantically to analyze the alien transmissions. The government had intercepted communications between the Imperial ships and was desperate to understand them. "I've broken another encryption layer," Bell said, her eyes red from lack of sleep. "They're talking about extraction zones and resource quotas. The numbers are disturbing." Murphy looked at the data and paled. "If I'm reading this right, they expect to take almost half of Earth's mineral resources." "There's more," Bell pointed to another section. "Look at these references to previous integrations. These worlds they've helped before. Their populations declined by 30% within a decade." "They're not here to help us," Murphy whispered. "They're colonizers." At the UN, representatives received the Empire's formal proposal. The terms confirmed Bell and Murphy's fears. Earth would surrender 40% of all natural resources, accept imperial governors in all major regions, and limit technological development to approved paths. In exchange, they would receive protection and limited access to galactic knowledge. Foster read the document with growing dread. "And if we refuse?" Xanfor's skin darkened to a deep purple. "Refusal is not in your interest. Worlds that resist integration face adjustment. The Empire has encountered many civilizations like yours. None have successfully maintained independence." That evening, Foster met secretly with world leaders via secure video conference. "They see us as a resource to be harvested," he explained. "Their integration is just colonization with a pretty name." "Can we fight them?" asked the Russian president. "With what?" replied the Chinese premier. "Their technology is centuries beyond ours." As they debated, satellite images showed more Imperial ships arriving at the edge of the solar system. The Empire was already bringing in reinforcements, assuming Earth's compliance, or preparing to ensure it. Professor Olivia Grant carefully unfolded the ancient papyrus with gloved hands. For 3 days straight, she had been searching through forgotten texts in Oxford University's restricted archives, looking for anything that might help humanity's current crisis. "Look at this," she said to her assistant. "These hieroglyphics don't match standard Egyptian patterns." The symbols showed figures descending from the sky, with strange objects and unusual star patterns. Carbon dating placed the papyrus at over 3,000 years old. "It matches what we found in the Sumerian tablets and Mayan carvings," she whispered. "They weren't just myths. Earth has been visited before." Across the Atlantic, in a secured facility beneath the Pentagon, military strategist John Hayes projected holographic models of the Imperial ships. "Their energy signatures peak here and here," he explained to the assembled generals. "And these emission patterns suggest their shield technology operates on a predictable frequency cycle." One general leaned forward. "Are you saying they have weaknesses?" "Every technology has limitations," Hayes replied. "They're advanced, but not perfect. These fluctuations in their defensive systems occur approximately every 82 seconds. "Can we exploit that?" asked a naval admiral. "Maybe, but we need better weapons first." At NASA's Advanced Research Center, engineer Sofia Martinez worked with salvaged materials from an Imperial probe that had malfunctioned over Brazil. Her team had recovered it before the aliens could. "The way they manipulate energy is fascinating," she told her colleagues as they examined the alien technology. "It's not just advanced engineering. It's a fundamentally different approach to physics." Her prototype defense system incorporated principles reverse-engineered from the alien device. It wasn't powerful enough to destroy the Imperial ships, but it could potentially disrupt their communications and scanning abilities. World governments, working in unprecedented cooperation, established a secret facility deep within the Rocky Mountains. Scientists and military experts from dozens of countries gathered there, sharing information and technology with no restrictions. "We've never seen nations cooperate like this," remarked the Canadian Prime Minister during a classified briefing. "Perhaps it took an alien threat to truly unite humanity." In the facility's central lab, teams worked around the clock developing hybrid technology, combining Earth's most advanced systems with principles gleaned from studying the aliens. Quantum computers processed data at speeds previously thought impossible. Engineers built weapons that could theoretically penetrate Imperial shields. While the Imperial assessment teams continued their survey of Earth, they remained unaware of humanity's feverish preparations. The aliens showed little interest in human military installations, considering them primitive and irrelevant. "They're underestimating us," John Hayes told the Joint Chiefs of Staff. "Their arrogance is providing us time." Professor Grant's research team discovered more evidence of previous alien visitations, including records suggesting that earlier encounters hadn't ended well for the visitors. According to these Nordic runes, she explained during a classified video conference, beings from the stars came with great weapons and demands, but they left in fear after witnessing human ferocity in battle. "Ancient legends," scoffed one political leader on the call. "Perhaps," Grant acknowledged. "But what if there's something about humans that's different from other species they've encountered? Something they don't expect?" Dr. Emma Wilson, a neurologist on the research team, had been analyzing Imperial communication patterns. "Their thought processes are highly structured," she explained. "Logical, efficient, but rigid. Humans, by contrast, are adaptable, creative, unpredictable. We can make intuitive leaps they might not anticipate." As the Empire's 30-day assessment period neared its end, Earth's hidden resistance grew stronger. Satellite imagery revealed more Imperial ships arriving at the edge of the solar system, a gathering armada. But for the first time since the aliens arrived, humanity felt a glimmer of hope. They weren't ready for war against a galactic empire, but they had something the Empire clearly didn't expect: the will to fight back. Imperial Assessor Xanthor stood before the assembled world leaders in the United Nations General Assembly. The alien skin had taken on a golden hue, which Earth diplomats had learned indicated formal proclamation mode. "The assessment of your world is complete," Xanfor announced. Earth has been classified as a Category 3 resource world with Level 2 technological development. The Galactic Empire extends its protection and governance. A holographic display appeared behind the alien, showing a map of Earth with regions highlighted in different colors. "These zones will be designated for resource extraction. Your species will relocate from these areas within 90 days. 40% of all planetary resources will be allocated to Imperial needs." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. "Imperial governors will be installed in each of your major regions. All technology development will require Imperial approval. Weapons systems will be dismantled. Space exploration will cease." Ambassador Foster rose from his seat. "And if we find these terms unacceptable..." Xanfor's skin darkened. "You have 30 days to prepare for integration. After that, the Empire will ensure compliance through necessary means. This is not a negotiation." The alien delegation departed without further discussion, leaving Earth's leaders in stunned silence. "They're not even pretending to be friendly anymore," the German chancellor said. The President of the United States stood. "We need to meet. Not here, somewhere secure." 24 hours later, world leaders gathered in a bunker deep beneath the Swiss Alps. The facility, built during the Cold War, had been retrofitted with technology that could block Imperial scanning. "Their demands would destroy our way of life," Foster reported. "Based on data we intercepted, planets that accept Imperial rule become little more than mining colonies. Their populations are worked to exhaustion. Their cultures are erased." "What are our options?" asked the Indian Prime Minister. General Patricia Gonzalez displayed the latest defense projections. "Our conventional military can't match their technology. But Professor Grant and Dr. Wilson's research suggests we might have advantages they don't expect. The Imperial fleet consists of 47 ships currently in our solar system," reported Admiral Youssef Nasser. "Their weapons could destroy our major cities within hours." "But can we hurt them at all?" asked the Brazilian president. "Maybe," said Sofia Martinez, joining the conversation via secure video link from the Rocky Mountain facility. "We've developed systems that could potentially disrupt their shields and communications. Not enough to win a war, but enough to surprise them." Captain Nathan Price stepped forward. His Special Forces team had been training with the new technology. "We need to know more about their command structure and ship systems. I propose a reconnaissance mission to infiltrate their command vessel." "That's suicide," said the Russian president. "It's necessary," Price countered. "We can use a modified stealth aircraft incorporating the technology Martins developed. My team volunteers for the mission." After heated debate, the mission was approved. 4 days later, under cover of a controlled electromagnetic pulse to blind Imperial sensors, Price's team launched from a hidden facility in the Arctic. Meanwhile, Dr. Emma Wilson presented her findings about human psychology compared to Imperial thought patterns. "Their society is hierarchical and rigid," she explained. "They expect compliance based on technological superiority. Throughout their history, they've never encountered a species that continued fighting once the technological gap was demonstrated. So they expect us to just give up?" asked the Japanese Prime Minister. "Exactly," Wilson nodded. "Their psychology can't comprehend choosing destruction over submission. But human history is full of examples where people chose to fight against overwhelming odds." As the 30-day deadline approached, Imperial ships began moving into lower Earth orbit. They positioned themselves over major cities, a clear show of force. Foster watched the ships through a telescope from the Swiss bunker. "We're out of time," he said quietly. "Either we submit, or we show them something they've never seen before." "Then we show them," said the Secretary General of the UN. "We show them what happens when you threaten humanity." Captain Nathan Price felt his heartbeat steady as the stealth craft approached the massive Imperial command ship. His team had trained for this mission for 2 weeks straight, but training couldn't fully prepare them for the reality of approaching an alien vessel in space. "Activation range in 30 seconds. whispered Lieutenant Laura Rice, the team's tech specialist. Her fingers moved across the control panel, activating the shield harmonizer, the device reverse-engineered from alien technology. "Remember, we have a 90-second window once we're inside," Price reminded his team. "Get to the central hub, extract the data, plant the device, and get out." The small craft slipped through a momentary fluctuation in the Imperial shift shields, exactly as John Hayes had predicted. They docked at an automated maintenance port, bypassing the main hangar where they would certainly be detected. "Atmosphere reads breathable," Rice confirmed, checking her instruments. "Gravity slightly stronger than Earth normal." The four-person team moved through the alien corridors, following the path memorized from schematics derived from Imperial transmissions. Twice they froze as patrol drones passed, but the camouflage technology developed at the Rocky Mountain facility worked perfectly. The drone's sensors passed over them without alarm. When they reached the central data hub, Rice went to work immediately. She connected Earth technology to the alien system using an interface of her own design. "I'm in," she whispered after tense minutes of work. "They have absolutely no internal security. They never expected anyone could get aboard." "What are you finding?" Price asked, keeping watch at the entrance. "Everything. Ship layouts, weapons systems, communication protocols." Her eyes widened. "I've accessed their command network. I can see transmissions to the entire fleet. Can you send our message?" Rice nodded. "Uploading now." Back on Earth, in bunkers and command centers across the globe, military leaders watched as Operation Bright Shield entered its critical phase. If Price's team succeeded, every Imperial ship would receive Earth's message simultaneously, directly through their own communication systems. "Imperial ships are changing formation," reported a technician at the Swiss command center. "They're moving into attack positions." Ambassador Foster checked his watch. "They're right on schedule. The 30-day deadline expires in 5 minutes." In the Imperial command ship, Rice's fingers flew across her interface. "Upload complete." Triggering fleet-wide broadcast in 3, 2, 1. Across the Imperial Armada, view screens activated without command. Communication systems overrode normal protocols. Every alien in the fleet saw the same message, a broadcast from humanity. The message began with demonstrations of Earth's new defensive systems, the shield disruptors, the energy weapons developed from studying Imperial technology, the global defense grid now activated and surrounding the planet with a protective field. Then came footage from Earth's history, humans fighting against overwhelming odds, refusing to surrender even in hopeless situations. The message showed the creativity and unpredictability that Dr. Wilson had identified as uniquely human traits. The broadcast concluded with Ambassador Foster speaking directly to the Imperial fleet. "We have studied your technology. We have prepared our defenses. We have analyzed your tactics. We know you expected us to surrender, but humanity does not bow to threats. This is our home, and we will defend it with everything we have." Foster's expression hardened. "We issue one warning, our only warning. Leave our solar system now, or witness what happens when humans are threatened. We do not want war, but we are prepared for it. The choice is yours." As the message played throughout the fleet, Price's team planted the final device, a quantum disruptor that would temporarily disable the command ship's weapons if hostilities began. "Mission complete," Price reported through their secure channel. "Heading to extraction point." Imperial alarms blared to life as the aliens finally realized their systems had been compromised. But by then, Price's team was already boarding their craft, preparing to slip away through another calculated shield fluctuation. Earth's message had been delivered. Now humanity waited to see how the Empire would respond. Imperial Assessor Xanfor's skin turned a deep, angry purple as the human message concluded. The command bridge fell silent, waiting for the Assessor's response. "Primitive defiance," Xanfor finally said. "Prepare a demonstration strike. Target their largest population center. Throughout the Imperial fleet, weapons systems powered up. The massive ships moved into attack formation, their energy signatures growing more intense as they prepared to deliver punishment to the defiant planet below. In command centers around Earth, monitors tracked the Imperial movements. "They're charging weapons," reported Admiral Stevens at the North American Defense Command. "All ships moving to attack positions." "Are they falling for it?" asked the Secretary of Defense. Major William Carter nodded, monitoring the tactical display. "They're following standard Imperial attack protocols, exactly as we predicted. They're grouping their ships to maximize firepower." "Activate Bright Shield," ordered the President. Around the world, hidden installations powered up. The technology reverse-engineered from alien systems, combined with human innovation, came online. A subtle energy field surrounded the planet, invisible to normal sight, but glowing on sensor readings. The Imperial ships fired their first volley. Energy beams streaked toward Earth, powerful enough to level cities. They struck the shield and scattered, dissipating harmlessly. On the Imperial command ship, alarms blared. "Weapons ineffective," reported an Imperial officer. "The humans have deployed some kind of defensive field." "Impossible," Kexan hissed. "Their technology is centuries behind ours. The field appears to be operating on a modulating frequency that matches our weapon emissions," said another officer. "It's absorbing our energy attacks." Before Xanthor could respond, Earth launched its counterattack. From hidden bases around the world, specially designed aircraft rose into the atmosphere. They weren't built to match Imperial firepower, but they didn't need to. Each carried Dr. Rebecca Parker's quantum disruptors, devices designed to target the specific frequencies used in Imperial shield technology. Major Carter led the first squadron, piloting a craft that blended human aerospace engineering with alien principles. "Remember your training," he told his pilots through the comm system. "Don't try to destroy their ships. Target their shield generators and weapon systems only." The Earth craft were smaller and more maneuverable than anything the Empire had encountered before. Imperial targeting systems struggled to lock onto the agile vessels as they weaved between the larger ships. Carter's squadron deployed their disruptors, the devices attached to Imperial hull plates and activated, sending precisely calibrated energy pulses through the ship's systems. One by one, Imperial shields flickered and failed. On the ground, Martinez monitored the battle from the Rocky Mountain facility. "The disruptors are working. Their shields are dropping on 7 ships." The second phase of Earth's defense activated. Ground-based energy weapons, built using principles learned from studying Imperial technology, fired precisely targeted pulses. They struck the now vulnerable Imperial ships, disabling weapons arrays and propulsion systems without destroying the vessels. In orbit, the Imperial flagship, Xanthor's command vessel, found itself surrounded by Earth aircraft. Its shields failed as multiple disruptors activated simultaneously. "What is happening?" Xanthor demanded as systems throughout the ship shut down. "How are they doing this?" Through the command ship's communication system came Ambassador Foster's voice. "We warned you. This is a demonstration of what happens when you threaten humanity. We could destroy your ships, but we choose not to. We don't seek your destruction, only our freedom." The remaining Imperial ships, witnessing the flagship's vulnerability, began to retreat. They pulled back to the edge of the solar system, maintaining position just beyond Neptune's orbit. Within 12 hours of the failed attack, Imperial losses stood at 17 ships disabled, 31 ships with partial systems failure, and 0 ships destroyed. Earth had neutralized the threat without taking a single human life. In the White House Situation Room, the President turned to John Hayes. "Will they try again?" Hayes studied the tactical display, showing the Imperial fleet's retreat. "They'd never encountered resistance like this. I think we've given them something new to consider." 3 days after Earth's defensive victory, a single Imperial shuttle approached the planet under a flag of truce. It landed at the same New Mexico location, where Xanthor had first arrived, but this time different Imperial representatives emerged. "I am Senior Diplomat Vrelka," announced the lead alien, whose robes were simpler than Xanthor's elaborate attire. "The Galactic Empire wishes to open genuine dialogue with Earth." Commander Grace Sullivan, who had been selected to lead the new negotiations, stepped forward. The veteran diplomat had studied all available information about Imperial culture during the crisis. "Earth welcomes dialogue between equals," she replied, emphasizing the last word. The Imperial delegation was escorted to a specially prepared conference center in Geneva. Unlike the previous meetings, where the aliens had dictated terms, this time humans controlled the environment and set the agenda. "Your defense of your world was unexpected," Vrelka admitted during the opening session. "No species at your development stage has ever resisted Imperial integration." "Perhaps you need to reconsider how you measure development," Sullivan suggested. "Technology isn't the only measure of advancement." Over the next week, negotiations proceeded with a decidedly different tone. The Empire, humbled by Earth's demonstration, no longer demanded submission. Instead, they proposed a mutual recognition agreement. "The Empire still has much to offer Earth," Vrelka explained. "Access to galactic markets, technological exchange, protection from hostile species." "And what would Earth offer in return?" Sullivan asked. "Your ingenuity, your adaptability." Vrelka's skin shifted to a thoughtful blue shade. "These are rare qualities in the galaxy. Many Imperial worlds have become stagnant. Your approaches to problem-solving are unique." The final agreement, signed 2 weeks later, established Earth as an independent associate of the Galactic Empire. Humans would have access to Imperial knowledge and trade networks, but Earth's sovereignty remained absolute. No Imperial governors, no resource quotas. As a demonstration of humanity's new status, the United Nations established Earth's first off-world colony on Mars within 6 months, using a blend of human determination and Imperial technology. The Red Planet, once thought decades away from habitation, quickly became home to a thriving research settlement. Ambassador Foster, now serving as Earth's first representative to the Galactic Council, addressed the assembled delegates from thousands of worlds. "Earth comes to the galactic community not as subjects, but as partners," he declared. "We bring with us human creativity, resilience, and a different way of looking at the universe's challenges." The Imperial representative who responded was not Xanthor. The assessor had been reassigned to a distant part of the Empire, but a newly appointed Imperial coordinator. "The Empire has existed for 12,000 years, the coordinator acknowledged. "In that time, we have sometimes forgotten that diversity of thought is as valuable as uniformity of purpose." Earth's resistance to standard integration has prompted reconsideration of our approaches. Dr. Emma Wilson, whose research on human psychology had been crucial to Earth's strategy, now led a joint human Imperial research team studying cognitive differences between species. "The Empire valued conformity and predictability," she explained to a university audience. "Their technology surpassed ours, but their thinking had become linear. They couldn't imagine a less advanced civilization, choosing potential destruction over guaranteed survival under their rule." Within a year, human innovations began spreading throughout the Empire. Earth's music, art, and literature became highly prized in Imperial culture. Human engineers, working with Imperial scientists, developed new technologies that neither civilization could have created alone. Captain Price, promoted to colonel, commanded Earth's first deep space vessel, a ship built with human creativity and Imperial technical knowledge. "We stand at the beginning of a new chapter," he told his crew as they prepared for their maiden voyage beyond the solar system. "Not as conquerors or the conquered, but as explorers." From merely becoming a subjugated world, Earth had emerged as a respected power in the galactic community. The Empire had set its sights on Earth, expecting easy conquest. Instead, it had found something unique in the galaxy, a species whose greatest strength wasn't technology, but the unbreakable human spirit that refused to surrender.